Okay, in this video, I'm going to be guiding you through the FebMart series 2025 of economics from the igcse syllabus. This is going to be a video on section B only. I can make one on section A if you want me to. This is paper 2, the structured paper, and variant 2. Syllabus code is 0455. Let's get started. So, in section B, we are given little case studies for each number, and we could choose to refer to these case studies or we could choose not to refer to these case studies. You need to answer 3 questions out of the 4 questions that are given to us, and you need to make sure to answer all the parts under that question. So in question 2, for example, if you choose to do question 2, you have to answer all the questions from A to D under question 2. Okay, so read the case study really quickly. Now, part A tells us to identify a difference between economic goods and free goods. So an economic good has opportunity cost, while a free good has no opportunity cost. Now, explain how opportunity cost will influence a government's decision on whether to spend tax revenue on a large infrastructure project. Okay. I first started by giving the definition of opportunity cost, and now I've stated my point, and now we're going to elaborate on my point. Alright, now I've elaborated my point by saying, so the opportunity cost of spending it on a large infrastructure project, because I'm relating it to the case study, which you do not have to, I chose to, and then you're going to emphasize, would be that, so what would the opportunity cost be? Give the opportunity cost. I said that the money could have been spent on something else like healthcare or unemployment benefits. I'm going to show you where the marks are given. First mark is for the definition of opportunity cost. Next is for stating that tax revenue is limited. And why is this? It's because we're using our knowledge to understand what exactly tax revenue is. Next point is that the money could be spent on something else. The other point is the example on what it can be spent on. I gave the 2 examples, one of healthcare and unemployment benefits. And that is how you get your 4 marks. Okay, let's look at part C. Analyze the influences on whether supply of a product is elastic or inelastic. Now, since this is one of the higher mark questions, this is a 6 mark question as you can see, I'm going to first analyze this question for you, which you need to be able to understand the question in order to actually answer it. Alright, so first of all, what is supply elasticity? So this is basically about how much the quantity supplied of a product changes when its price changes. So it's responsiveness, the responsiveness of the quantity supplied of a product compared to the price changing, or when the price changes, the responsiveness of the product. So if a supply is price elastic, that means that the supply changes a lot when the price changes. And then if a supply is price inelastic, then that means the supply changes a little bit, even if price changes like by a lot. And then in this question, we saw the word influence. So what does it mean in this case? So the question wants us to explain the factors that decide whether supply is elastic or inelastic for a certain product. In other words, what makes it easier or harder for producers to increase supply when the prices go up. Let me just fix that. There you go, my letters are not bending anymore. Right, so you're being asked to talk about the factors that affect supply elasticity. And we have some over here that I've listed down for you. Time, we have spare capacity, availability of resources, and etc. Okay, just like the previous question, we're going to start by giving a definition. So we're giving a definition for price elasticity of supply, and I've said it's the responsiveness of supply to a change in demand. Sorry about that, that should be price, not demand. Alright, there you go. Here's my second point. Elastic supply is when PES, or price elasticity of supply, is greater than 1, and inelastic supply is when PES is less than 1. You can literally write one of these, you don't need to write both. Right, I've written my next 2 points. So I've said elastic supply occurs when the percentage change of a quantity supplied is greater than the percentage change in price. And that's basically my use of the formula. Okay, now let's take a look at part D. So, discuss whether or not a government should ban the burning of woods to heat homes. Now, I've prepared the answers in point form, but obviously you're going to write it in your exam in full sentences. But these are just for ideas. So, here are ideas or reasons why it should. Now, in order to reduce external costs, and we have pollution as an external cost. If you don't know what an external cost is, it's basically a bad effect to the environment or the surroundings due to the activities of a business. So, burning wood causes pollution. Or if you want to be more precise, you can write air pollution. Okay, next, correct market failure or information failure. So, basically, any company that is like in a monopoly of cutting down the trees to produce fuel in order to correct that. Next, we have improved people's health because obviously inhaling all those gases after wood has been burnt is not good for your health and could cause respiratory problems. Then protect forests. Obviously, deforestation is not good for the environment. Then replace wood with a more environmentally friendly fuel like renewable sources like wind and solar. Now, wood could be used for other purposes like shelter. And now let's look at reasons of why it should not. Okay, wood may be bought mainly by the poor. So, if there's not, like, if the government imposes a rule that the country cannot use wood anymore for burning, then the poor cannot buy any other sources of energy rather than burning the wood. Hence, this will increase poverty. Then, other sources of fuels may be more expensive, so that could again not be sufficient for the whole country, which will increase inflation. May be difficult to enforce as a lot of people are burning the wood. May cause unemployment for the people that are working in firms that cut down trees. It may be better to tax wood as a fuel, and the government could use that revenue to subsidize or basically help promote more environmentally friendly sources of fuel.